they will accept the NEP. With some political compulsion and motivation, they are backing out. They have to come to the terms of the Indian Constitution. They have to accept the national education policy in letter spirit.
தமிழ்நாட்டு மாணவர்கள் அவங்களுடைய பெற்றோர்கள் கட்டண வரி பணத்துல தான் எங்களுடைய உரிமையை தான் நாங்க கேட்கிறோம்.
Vanakkam and welcome. I'm Srinivasan and this is Talking Sense with Srini. We're diving into an explosive debate that's making headlines across India. Tamil Nadu's stiff opposition to the three-language policy. It all started when Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan dropped a bombshell warning Tamil Nadu that the centre would withhold funds under the Samagra Shiksha scheme unless the state adopts a national education policy in full. Dharmendra Pradhan's statement sent shockwaves across the political landscape, with Chief Minister M.K. Stalin and the DMK firmly criticizing, calling it nothing short of a blatant blackmail. To discuss more on this is our very own Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Srinivasan, and along with him is also our senior journalist, Mr. Rangaraj. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Let me begin with Srinivasan, sir, first. Why is Tamil Nadu against the very idea of a three-language policy?
You know, you have to look at it, you have to go back a little and see historically what has happened. All along, Tamil Nadu has been saying that we'll only follow a two-language policy, which is English and mother tongue Tamil. And this has been the stated policy of the state since its inception. Now, the whole thing has a little bit of history, we can discuss it later, but the opposition is mainly to the fact that let people here, students here, learn, get their education in their mother tongue, and therefore Tamil is important. And as far as the English is concerned, it's important to be a linked language so that communication could be made with other states and also with the center. So basically the issue here which the state is trying to raise through two-language policy vis-a-vis the three-language policy is that there should be equality as far as language is concerned. So if you were to look at broadly what has happened is, India doesn't have a kind of, like many other nations don't have, a national language, like United States don't have. So English is our link language, whereas the official language for the center, which it uses to communicate with all the states, is Hindi, which is not Rashtra Bhasha, but it is Raj Bhasha, which is the official language. Similarly, it has been promised in the Constitution under 8th schedule that all languages will be given an equal status, and therefore under 8th schedule, Tamil and other languages are all at par with Hindi. There is no one kept above or below. Everybody is on par. So the state conducts, all the states are allowed to conduct their official duties in the language they prefer. So Tamil Nadu does all its work in Tamil. Now when the language agitation started, and following that, there has been a language guideline which has been issued. Now what does it say? I'll just read it out. This, the state is exempted from implementing, quote, the Official Languages Act 1963, unquote, as mentioned in the Official Languages Rules 1976. So basically in that guideline, it's only Tamil Nadu which has been actually even exempted from implementing this. So this is what, though this is slightly different, the Official Languages Act, even that they need not. But the thing here is when center states, now you also need to implement, they are not saying Hindi, they are only saying third language. Tamil Nadu reads it as Hindi and therefore it opposes it. And that's the controversy here.
That's okay. I want to take it a little further there to Mr. Rangaraj there. So the three-language policy is very much a part of the National Education Policy 2020, right? That's a bone of contention here. While the DMK argues that it's an attempt to impose Hindi on Tamils, the BJP denies and says, look, the DMK should rise above politics and they shouldn't be having a myopic vision as far as the policy is concerned. So where's the contradiction here?
Right. See, language is seen as an instrument of oppression or domination by the DMK, in the sense that they say per se we are not opposed to studying any language. It's open to anybody to study Hindi in the Dakshin Hindi Prachar Sabha or private Hindi tuition or other places where Hindi can be learnt or taught. It doesn't form part of the state education syllabus, because there's been perennially a running battle between the DMK and what it perceives as the cowbelt politics of the North. That is essentially the Hindi-speaking states in North India. They are perceived as dominating over the cultures of other states, particularly in South India. So this has been perpetually a battle. And one perception of the battle is that language is being used to promote as if Hindi is acceptable and spoken by all parts of India. So that's what the whole game is about. It's not just about Hindi being part of the NEP policy, three-language policy. Why the state opposes the three-language policy is, it is seen as an indirect way of bringing in Hindi through the back door into the state education curriculum. So that is essentially the battle. What the center says is that it's open to anybody to learn Hindi, but the three-language policy in effect brings about Hindi as the third language apart from English and the mother tongue. So thereby the canvas of Hindi-speaking states, Hindi-speaking people is sought to be enlarged. That is really the battle that's going on. Yes, it's political in a way, but political is also in a sense guided by the fierce opposition to imposition of Hindi, which happened at some time and which was blocked by Nehru's assurance that Hindi will not be imposed on southern states as long as they want. And because of that guarantee, the center has not been able to implement the three-language policy in the state. So that's at the root of the problem. Now what is happening is Hindi really the majority language as it is seen in the country? There are lots of disputes about it. Even Rajaji has raised the point that it is not necessarily so, because India has so many dialects and India has got so many languages, and people in Maharashtra, people prefer Marathi. In Karnataka, they prefer their own language, Kannada, and Orissa, they have Oriya. Though Hindi may be spoken, but different dialects, they are not one. And if you go by majority, it was C.N. Annadurai who once quipped when he said, majority of people speak Hindi, so why can't Hindi be the national language? So he said, if that be so, the crow should be the national bird, not the peacock. Majority crows outnumber the peacock by a large measure. So he said, it's not the question of majority. So these debates have been going on. The point now is the DMK perceives this as yet another attack by the BJP-backed government in the center of trying to impose its views and denying funds. The crucial issue here is not just a question of language. They have said, because you don't accept the NEP, 2,158 crores under the Samaksha scheme, which is due to Tamil Nadu, will not be paid to the state government. So that is essentially the battle. They say unless you accept the NEP, you will not get these funds. So the state government is saying, and they say the state government should fall in line with the constitution. Now the chief minister has raised a valid issue. Where does the constitution say that a state should mandatorily accept the three-language policy? True. If you go to the constitution, there is no mention of it at all. So why is the center making a big issue about constitution and other things when the constitution clearly doesn't mention this? In fact, education was in the state list. It was subsequently brought under the concurrent list. But concurrent list doesn't mean the center has monopoly over it. It means the center and states both have an interest, have rights in the concurrent list. So ideally, many people say education should go back to the state list, in which case this confusion will not follow.
I want to bring in Srinivasan sir here. Sir, as Mr. Rangaraj was pointing out, the education falls under the concurrent list, right? I mean, which means the state do really have legitimate rights over matters related to education. So, in how constitutional is it for the Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to ask the DMK government to stick to the national education policy so that he'll be releasing funds?
Yeah, I think Dharmendra Pradhan has, not so typically used a pretty strong language. He says, let me just quote in his letter which he has written to the Chief Minister. It is inappropriate for the state to view NEP 2020 with a myopic vision and spin progressive education reforms into threats to sustain their political narratives. I think it's a pretty strong language used by a union minister against, a state chief minister. What did the CM do? CM wrote a letter to the PM saying that please release these funds because don't try to link new education policy with the language policy. That's all he made a request. Yeah. Now, clearly, as Ranga also explained, that there is this three education policy. Why it is not being implemented and what is the issue? Why constantly Tamil Nadu government is saying that we'll only implement a two-language policy? Not just Tamil Nadu. Many other states also don't implement this either in letter or in spirit. By the way, Pradhan in his letter also admits the same thing. He says that unfortunately, despite being part of successive education policies, it was never implemented in letter and spirit, leading to a decline in systematic teaching of Indian languages in schools. He uses this to say that actually we are trying to promote more Indian language. The new education policy also says in its preamble that look, education is better, children have better cognitive abilities if it is the teaching happens in the mother tongue. But the thing here is why this three-language policy could not be implemented anywhere. That's because both state government here in Tamil Nadu and at center have politics behind what they are talking. Let me give you further explain this, what has happened. Suppose a boy is studying in Madhya Pradesh and he wants to, he accepts a three-language formula. What are the three languages he'll be taught? A, Hindi, because he is in a Hindi state. B, English, because it's a linked language. The question really comes, what should be the third language? Now, the option should be given to that child, suppose he is from Tamil Nadu, that he should be allowed to learn his mother tongue. And that for that, ensuring in a place like Gwalior, you need a Tamil teacher. And you need enough infrastructure so that the boy gets his education in Tamil. Now, turn the thing around. The same thing must happen in Chennai also. Now, here, actually what has happened is, suppose there are schools which are run by Telugu Association, other association, and they say that, look, my child need to, learn Telugu. Mm-hmm. And the medium of instruction should be in Telugu, and the Telugu medium schools insist. They also need teachers. So, despite a Supreme Court order, the teaching staff has not been fulfilled, forcing them to go back to Tamil only. In fact, there is an order saying they should be only taught in Tamil. The same happens in a different way in the north. Instead of that, the child may have to opt for Sanskrit. Or maybe if there is a facility, French or German or some other language. Then what actually gets beaten is the Indian languages. So while they say this in letter, but the implementation doesn't happen. And not today, tomorrow. It's been there for last so many decades. And the same thing is repeating once again.
That's right. So now take this forward to Mr. Rangaraj as well. Keeping finances and politics aside for a bit, if you really think from a very logical perspective, you understand that, look, there's a lot of migration happening from the northern hemisphere to Tamil Nadu, right? So isn't this natural for Tamils to actually think, look, somebody coming for a better lifestyle here and for better money should actually be learning the language rather than the opposite, isn't it?
As you say, the question is one of option. The second is of logistics and resources. How many schools can afford teachers who can provide teaching in a different language, for example? It could be a case of somebody coming from Orissa, could be somebody coming from Punjab. So there are other issues as well. I don't think an average school can afford to have some 10 or 12 teachers who can teach various languages like Punjabi, Oriya, and Bengali and so on. I don't think a school can afford to have that many teachers, and who pays for them ultimately? So that's also an issue. So in the premise that some from some other states may want to use the option of studying in a language of their own, it sounds good, but in practical terms, it becomes very difficult for schools to organize teachers with the required standards and then regularly provide examinations and tests and correction and so on. So it's a difficult issue. But you also have other issues now. You can say finances apart. The central government also says that the state will also lose another 2,500 crores because it does not adopt the PM Shri scheme. Now the PM Shri scheme is not isolated to, the opposition is not isolated to Tamil Nadu. There are states like Kerala and Punjab and West Bengal have also not accepted this PM Shri scheme, saying that this is an attempt by the centre to encroach upon the state's right for education. So that's what it's boiling down to. Now we have Jayaranjan, who was the Vice Chairman of the State Planning Commission. He says this is an attempt by the centre. First they use finance, next they use education, third they may use health, again to deprive states of certain funds which normally they should get on some pretext or other. For example, we see in the case of cyclones relief, for example, 5 states have been granted relief, but Tamil Nadu or Kerala, they don't get the relief. So it's a question where states are now reduced to some kind of going around with begging bowls and asking the centre for money. A stage may come when the GST may have to be altered. Half of the GST comes to state, half the collections is under state government, half is under central government. This GST may have to be amended by which the state part of it comes directly to the state. It doesn't have to go to the centre and then you ask for your share. So things that may have to be worked out whereby states feel more comfortable in using the funds which they're entitled to.
That's right. So one last question, gentlemen, here. I think both of them can chime in. Politically, this is not about finances. It is about whether we stand by ideology or surrender. That's Dr. Jayaranjan saying to the Indian Express. So whom do you think has got the political edge here, the BJP or the DMK, because we have the elections in just another year?
The bedrock of Dravidian politics, and especially DMK, is language. The entire politics is around that. So they got a splendid opportunity. In fact, to me it appears as if the centre has nilly-willy played into the hands of DMK, because it gives them a great opportunity to exploit this issue in toto. They have done this marvelously well earlier. I won't be so cynical to say that it's just a political issue. It's also an emotional issue in Tamil Nadu. It's certainly 90% of people here may not understand Hindi or other languages from other regions, and they're very much worried when the language issue comes. I'm not trying to belittle that, but what I'm trying to point out that certainly the language issue is a political issue, it's a hot potato issue, and BJP nilly-willy has raised it. They have tried to penetrate into the state in various ways, and they have failed. In the past, they tried to polarize. They tried to, even recently, there was an attempt to, if a communal issue can be raised, if caste issues can be done. Governor plays his own role. Many attempts have been made. I think this is one more attempt they are making, which we'll see how it goes. But to my mind, it was a bad move.
Someone kept saying why Modi is not successful, his party is not successful in the southern states, because he speaks in Hindi, which most people are not able to follow. So the BJP is trying to get more and more people to learn Hindi and follow Hindi so that they can follow their star speakers like Yogi and Modi and others, speak in oratorical Hindi and be impressed by that. So that's one part of it. The second is you see the RSS opposition to study of English and other things, because they feel that people who study English and who read English books, who study in English medium, English convents, they are impressed by Jawaharlal Nehru and Gandhi and values of secularism and other things, are not tied down by fundamental Hindutva. So that's the second part of it. The third part of it is that the DMK obviously is the biggest gainer, because the DMK feeds on the BJP's rhetoric. So every time the BJP speaks like on an issue like language or what the governor tries to do as far as hurting Tamil Nadu pride, the DMK gains by invoking Tamil culture, Tamil Nadu, Tamil language, Tamil pride against the perceived enemy of North Indian Aryan domination. So obviously the biggest beneficiary in all these such battles is the DMK, which thrives on the anti-North, anti-center politics, and the BJP keeps on feeding them with issues and keeps the pot boiling, and that helps the DMK a lot.
So I want to say one more thing here. The language is pretty complex, but then if you have to break it down, there are three main issues here. One is like it's not just a political issue, but for them it's a bedrock of their own politics, is equality. They are saying this language must be dealt at an equal footing. Second is lingua franca. In what language should people be communicating with each other? Suppose somebody comes from the other state, what language should he be learning? Or whether he should be learning or whether people from here should be learning their language is a question. Now, migration being a reality, a lot of people are now coming for job opportunities in the southern states, because southern states are far developed now, but their population rate is dwindling, and there are more manpower available in the north, more able-bodied people are there, and naturally the economy finds its own level. People are traveling here to find jobs. So for opportunities they come. Whether the question is, when they come here, should they be learning the local language, or the people here should know Hindi? Now, largely, some theorists believe that center is trying to impose Hindi to make it convenient for the migrants to arrive in, and that's one theory. But the third issue here is that what is aspirational language? I think India's language policy has got kind of derailed right from the word go. If you have to take the example of Andhra, the Chief Minister who lost out his election, Jagan Mohan Reddy, he said, look, all the schools there should now learn compulsorily English, English medium, because he sees that as an aspirational language. And many parents welcome that, because finally, what is that the end result of all this is going to be? That you need jobs. You learn, you go to school, finally you become a better person, an educated person, you also require some job. So that aspiration is only fulfilled when actually, whatever you may say, English still plays a crucial role. There is a rhetorical question, what kind of job you can get when you say learn, say Hindi, or say Tamil too. I mean, it's a big question, it's a pretty complex one, and it requires a far more serious deliberation than this political slanging.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was nothing less riveting talking to you. Thank you.